We're back in DayZ, taking a look at the game for 2021, kind of what to expect over the next year, looking back at what happened in 2020, and kind of giving an idea of where the game's at the current moment in time. So we're on Xbox Series X for context, and moving past that, we are on the 1.10 update at this current point in time, as you can see in the bottom left there. So we got 4 updates last year. Oh look, there's pumpkins and stuff. We're in a regular server, by the way, in case you were kind of curious. So yeah, we got 4 updates last year, which was a little bit less than expected. Apparently there were supposed to be 5. But the big thing is that you really got to consider, the situation of the world in 2020 was kind of, not necessarily optimal for game development. So with that, a lot of the updates were focused on fixing bugs, fixing issues, kind of improving certain elements of the experience, and generally changing some core elements of the game, such as like breaking bones with the shocks, adding in a new item here or there, adding the cold chill system that kind of works here or there, and we're looking forward to 2021, where there's going to be several updates, and they're going to do a next-gen update as well for the platforms, both PlayStation and Xbox, which is nice. And it looks like it's going to be a fairly vibrant future for DayZ in regards to what they have planned for the game going forward. So that's kind of, I guess you could say, exciting to, kind of keep in mind. So with that, DayZ. For a quick summary of the idea of the game, it's an open world zombie survival game. Regular servers allow 60 players to kind of try to survive. There's not really friends, but you can, find people online. You can invite a friend if you want, but, you still have to find them in the world if you're wondering about that element, because I get a lot of questions about that. Yep, a lot of questions about it. So what you're doing is you are trying to survive. You're dealing with hunger, thirst, the chills of the world, diseases, zombies, other players. We always say it's like, at least from my perspective, that this is a game where you're not necessarily trying to survive the zombies, but you're trying to survive the other people in the world, because your hostility and everything is going to come from the people you're dealing with. And I was hoping that eventually it would get a little bit nicer out, because it still seems like it's it's pretty dark, which is definitely a little bit disappointing, because I was hoping eventually it would get a little bit warmer and it'll be a little bit more daytime. It's just kind of annoying to kind of showcase the gameplay when every single server seems to be like, absolute darkness. It just kind of bothers me. That's like a kit where someone was trying to start a fire. It's actually kind of an interesting opening if you don't find this too dark, just in terms of what we've come across. We haven't heard any gunshots for a while, but there were a lot of gunshots going on, like not too long ago. But yeah, there's also some different mechanics in the game. So you can craft, you can build things such as a spear. You build a fireplace like you were seeing back there. The hand drill. You can create bases, structures, and you can farm, or well, you can do gardening basically. You can create like a plot and grow stuff. And then there's an element of fixing cars up to drive around. That's a lot of work too. And yeah, like I was saying, I always say it's not necessarily a game where you're trying to, outlive the undead. It's the other people in the game that you're having to deal with, because they're usually hostile, and every interaction in the game is kind of a bit of a surprise. You don't know if it's going to be good or bad. You kind of chat with people, and it's going to be totally random what exactly does happen in the game. You got a day-night cycle. There's weather that comes into effect. It could rain, lightning storms. It's just the one map. With the one map is like hundreds of kilometers in size, so it's massive. It's expansive. It goes on for a while. And on top of that, if you want to get to a new location, they do have this large-scale area called Livonia. And I do have a separate review that goes over Livonia, so I do encourage you to take a look at that if it's of interest to you, to expand the territory that you're exploring. That option is present. Just kind of a new area where it's a little bit more greener, and it's a smaller space that you can kind of jump into. And hopefully we also get to maybe see I don't know, an expansion to that someday as well would be kind of cool, or maybe like a new, well, maybe not an expansion to that, but like a new area that we could visit would be really interesting. At least I think so. That doesn't really help us too much. But yeah, it's a world of exploration, discovery. It's something that you can play kind of forever, I guess you could say. Like, to me, it has gotten a little bit repetitive considering how much I've done content on it for. But it's neat to see people still checking it out, neat to see it still getting updated, me still playing it. And again, this is mostly just a showcase of, you know, how the game is running at the current point in time on the platform, talking about the year ahead, and giving you context of the game, because you might be looking at this for the first time, and some people never get that when I do these, you know, reviews and stuff. It's like, well, what is the point of that? Some people might be looking at DayZ in 2021, and this might be their, you know, first experience seeing DayZ in action, and they're wondering, like, what is the game about? What does it do? How do you play it? You know, stuff like that. And I think it's important to kind of discuss that for people. I don't really need a lighter, and I don't really need that. I definitely need the rice. So as you're seeing, like, you can play it in first person. There's like hardcore servers where it's only first person. Some of the online servers are only first person. But I like to play the game in third. I think it gives you a better perspective on things. So with that, why do we have not? No, I got no space. Can maybe we get that in there now? There we go. Yeah, we get the red glow here. I don't know how dark it is on the actual, because on the TV it's not too dark. They made night a lot better, so I hope it hasn't been too dark footage-wise for you to see things. But yeah, so you can, you know, collect things and get outfits. And you can kind of customize your character, but not really. You can just change like clothing items and your kind of look. So, you know, you get some options to choose from, and then from there, you know, we've got these systems online. So we talked about the regular servers. So you can play, you know, the regular world, which in my opinion is a little bit hostile just in regards to the, you know, kind of the looting system. It just doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of loot these days. It's been like that for a few updates where it doesn't seem as, you know, loot friendly. It's very hard to survive just the basics like getting food and stuff. I will admit I think it's been better. I think it's been improving. Oh, look. Looks like it's getting a little bit nicer out. There's a survivor. That's not good. But, yeah, I think the loot economy's gotten a little better. It's still really aggressive, the food and the water systems, in regards to how fast, you know, those things kind of go down. And I think that's something to keep in mind as well in the game, is just, like, dealing with those systems. And I feel like they are quite aggressive. And that's kind of an interesting thing. But yeah, it's definitely a fun game. Oh, they saw me. Run away. Run from me. I'm not going to chase them. I don't care that much. I just wanted to scare them because I got like the axe murderer kind of thing going on here. There we go. So yeah, like I was saying, it's kind of hostile, it's kind of hard to deal with. But then we have these other things, these online servers. So these are things that you can pay for to rent. And I ran one for a long time. It was very expensive. I think they're a little bit better priced now. But, yeah, they were... Did my glow stick, did I drop it accidentally? Did it glitch? I don't know. Stuff's always glitching in here. They've fixed the inventory systems a little bit better, but still, it's like super touchy. Anyways, it's... You know, it's definitely got its moments to it too. But like I was saying, there's these online servers where you can have, like, people have mods on them. They have different setups. So you can do, like, Deathmatch. You can do, like, you know, it's a little bit easier to survive on some of them to get base stuff going, you know. And I think that's appealing to a lot of people. It's just having something easier going, because that's where you see the majority of the community now playing. And, you know, there's always people that argue. It's like, oh, it's the game is so easy and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't think it is for everyone. I really don't think it is. I see a lot of comments, because I've done a lot of DayZ content over the years, and, you know, I see a lot of things, how people react to the game, and yeah, it can be really hard to play this game. It takes a lot of effort to learn it, to play it, and it seems just very, it's not as accessible as I would like it to be for people. Obviously, it's still very popular. It was their most popular game last year, that being Bohemian, the developers, but, you know, it's still not necessarily the easiest game to understand and get into. which is a shame because, you know, I think this one hasn't really reached its full potential yet, as odd as that sounds. And I know they're doing a lot of updates and they're going to be working on more things, but I think, you know, there's a lot more they could do with this one in regards to the mechanics and the items and the things and the way you interact with other people. I think there's a lot more that DayZ could hit, you know, mark-wise. And I'm very much, again, looking forward to providing update reviews throughout the year, update news, and, you know, kind of going over the new features of the year like I've been doing over the past, just because it's kind of exciting to see that they're doing so much. Like, I always thought that development, you know, 2020, 2019 looked like it was winding down, you know. It seemed like they were kind of wrapping things up and then moving onwards, but I guess they're not done. So that's kind of neat to think about. But yeah, the game is just, it's really mechanically, you know, in depth. It's very delicately balanced in terms of, you know, what you're doing in it, the different systems for crafting, for exploration. Like, you know, you can get cut and you get shot and you can bleed and you'll have to heal that. So you got to put bullets into your guns, into the magazines, and then you put them in your gun. And I think that's neat. And you got to fix cars and you got to build every little element of your base, and that takes a lot of work. It's a very time-consuming game. That's the thing. It takes a lot of time. And I've got some friends that are like really into it now. I've been trying to get them into it for years, and as I've, you know, kind of moved away a little bit more from the game because we don't get as you know, much attention as we used to get on the views and the videos for DayZ, which is fine because, you know, that's kind of interesting. But anyways, it's just a neat game because you can do all these different interactions with people. And you can have all these weird moments. And it can be a lot of fun, but it can also be a very hostile time where you're never sure what's going to happen. Where did you go? Where did you go? And there is proximity chatting, so you can chat with people. And then there's also like a noise meter too. Oh, is he trying to get behind me? Oh, that's funny. So you can see that in the bottom left, how I'm kind of moving. It makes different sounds as I'm crouching. It doesn't make as much. You go prone. Just kind of a neat element of it. Oh, that sucks. And then you can zoom in too as well. You know, I got some neat movement mechanics. Again, like I did a tips and tricks video the other year, which I think kind of still covers the game largely fine in regards to understanding it and playing it. I'm not trying to teach you the controls. I'm just trying to show that the game has lots of little things to it. And then there's like the hotkey system, so you can like hotkey stuff really easily. I think they've improved the inventory a lot, at least in my opinion. I think it's gotten a lot better. Oh, sick hat, man. Oh, is this the guy doing like the fire and stuff? Yeah, looks like he's dead. And you should always take their shoes, because then they wake up and they get their feet all cut. Yeah, that could be a real pain to get places. And then the world's kind of cool too because it's got so many different landmarks. I guess you could say, I thought this was maybe I'm wrong. I'm thinking this. Yeah, it's the M block. But you know, there's lots of different places you can go. There's like castles, and there's lost relics, and there's the shoreline and military bases, and you know, there's zombies places, and you'd follow the tracks, and you can go into the forest. It's a huge world. There's a lot to explore. There's a lot to see. And there are a lot of people to interact with. We've got seasonal events now. So when you're playing, you know, you can jump in, and it could be like a Christmas event, or we've got Halloween. So that's kind of cool. It's just neat that they've continued to support the game, and I'm actually shocked that I'm still playing it. I definitely do contribute DayZ to being a big point of when my channel got like really good growth going for it. And then, you know, after DayZ waned, it slowed down a bit. And then, of course, you know, the Series X have been doing really amazingly well, honestly. It's kind of nuts, actually, seeing the growth and everything like that. It's crazy. It may not seem like that on a day-to-day, but when you look at the overall things, yeah, it's been wild. But I like to keep, you know, showing off a little bit of DayZ over time as well, because, you know, it's got that heritage to it. And there's obviously still interest from people to be playing this and showcasing it, which I think is kind of neat. Because like I said, I honestly did not expect to be playing DayZ this many years later. I remember playing it like, I think it was like a beta or something like that when it released on PC, and then coming to Xbox And I think we're getting Rust this year too, apparently. It's been rated for console, so that might be neat as well. I'm definitely... Huh. I don't think I've ever seen this formation before. I mean, I'm excited about the year ahead. I think, you know, DayZ's actually in the best place it's maybe been or could be going. I don't know, because every update tends to, like, sort of break things. Lots of pumpkins going on here. Huh. It's weird to run into so much of that. But yeah, you know, they just keep updating it, and then sometimes things break. Ow. Did I just miss that? Or... And you know they got the bugs and stuff like that, but I think performance-wise and stuff on Series X is pretty good. So I can't wait for them to actually, you know, fully optimize it. I think that's gonna be exciting. And oh, here's the map, so you can see how big it is. Like we're all the way up here, this like small town. We started from up there, came down here. It's just like this huge map, massively big. So many different places and things to see. It's kind of nuts. And then, you know, of course, so many different mechanics. And, you know, it can take like a whole video here for me to just talk about all the different aspects of the game. And that's not even like really totally in depth. I'm just kind of even giving, you know, like brief details about it because the game is so crazy. I think that's the IJ. Yeah, the IJ. And then the different weapons, and you get different gear and different outfits. Oh, I'm actually getting lucky on my food finding today. That's kind of cool. I think I'm like my generic. No, I think this is a random spawn. I think my generic guy is just like a red outfit. I never bother customizing the game's character because I just like to have random survivors every time. I think it's kind of funny. But you know, they got a lot of different buildings, and there's that nice update that added like kind of different interiors was a big thing. So the buildings were like very, very similar, and then one update kind of came in and like, you know, it just made the characters look a lot different is the big thing. It was like, oh, cool. Not the characters. I mean, well, the character update did make the characters look a lot different. But the interior buildings, you know, they changed them quite a bit. And I was like, oh, yes, you know, variation. It was as cool as the older update where, like, the zombies had different outfits all of a sudden and different items that could spawn on them. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. So that's kind of cool. Again, I gotta throw this in here because I gotta do this every time. I don't agree with the spawning system in regards to like server changes and that. I know some people, you know, disagree with me, but still, I push that it's a pain to have to, you know, because you can't server hop. It throws a huge delay on you and stuff. It spawns you randomly. I don't agree with it, but. Yeah, I don't know. I think they've cleaned that one up nicely so people don't have to deal with raiding as badly as it once was. But I think with that, we're going to swap over to just show off just a little bit of the modded servers in action so you get a feel of how that's kind of working. Even though it's just slowly starting to become a warm day, I think. Now, who am I kidding? It's never warm out here. It's always sad. Okay, so this is one of the online servers. Oh wow, it's like an obstacle course here? I don't know if I've ever seen this before. Huh. I think we're in Tizzy. No, Northwest Airfield. I've never seen this area before on this. So they updated it and added this in here. Anyways. Oh yeah, because it is, like, modded wise, they can add in different buildings and make weapons and loot spawn interesting. So this is more like a deathmatch situation. The idea is you're able to get in, grab guns, fight each other, and have fun. That's really the gist of the idea of it, what it offers, and kind of the concept. Some of the servers are more like heavier looting. They're faction-based, some of them. My friends that I mentioned prior, they have this one server they're in where, you know, they're kind of building fortresses together in like a group of 10 of them, and then they fend off raids from other groups, and they, you know, build their little forts up, and, you know, they do all kinds of cool things, which is sort of neat. I think that element of it's kind of fun, you know, spending the time to do that if you like it. Whereas I just, you know, I don't really do that in DayZ, which is fine. You know, there's different types of players, right? I just don't really have the time to invest like they do because they play this religiously. It's kind of funny, but it's cool that they got into it because for so long I was like, yo, give DayZ a whirl, and all of a sudden I'm seeing them on DayZ every other day, and I'm like, really? You know? It's wild. But yeah, this is just an example of it, okay? Like, they're not all deathmatch, the custom servers. They're whatever people want them to be. You know, you can customize the experience and have all kinds of wild times with lots of action. And you can have more players than, the regular server cap of 60, so that's kind of cool too. You want to get into larger match setups, I think that's kind of good here. But it's just kind of fun for also practicing the weapons. I always thought it would be neat if DayZ had some sort of just like a deathmatch, quick matchmaking thing in the menu. I know that sounds weird and it's not in the spirit of DayZ, but I always thought it would be a good way for people to kind of either, kind of scratch that itch of wanting to do more combat within the experience, or be like a good way to learn the guns. Because when you get a gun, in DayZ, it's like usually it's quite rare. You don't get a lot of ammo with it. If you sometimes you find a gun, you don't even have like a magazine or anything. You don't even have bullets. And when you do get them, it's like, oh, I don't want to waste them. But then you never kind of get to learn how the guns really work, if that's kind of the way you go about it. So you don't get to get a handle on them or understand how they shoot, because they get a lot of recoil and stuff. So I think, these servers kind of really hit that mark. And I find them nice, because I can play DayZ and I can just have like a much, much easier going time with this, right? Grab a gun, go in and shoot people. Usually we'd run into people, but, the airfield's actually pretty big, so you're going to have people focused in certain areas other than others. But yeah, I hope you kind of enjoyed this look at DayZ in action. Got an idea of it running on the platform. Understand where the game's at as of the start of 2021. And hopefully, if you stick around or come back around, you'll see coverage of the different updates as they drop. And, we usually do like a stream around there too. And that can be fun, and different gameplay throughout the year if there's something to talk about, like new news and that as well. Just to kind of keep it fresh. I'm surprised they're actually able to keep servers like this going, because it's such a kind of a cost to get the servers rolling. Because mine was like usually completely community driven, which was really nice from people that did support it then. I don't know if they're still around, but yeah, it was definitely appreciated. I'm sure the community really liked playing on it. It was fun times doing that, running that server for a while. But anyways, that's an overlay of DayZ. I was hoping I would run into somebody at some point so I could fire at them and kind of end on a death, but there we go. He was just waiting for me.